When you feel lost in your career path, there's a lot more that's going on beneath the surface than you're probably aware of, because it's not just a simple question of which job do I choose. If you really feel a deeper longing from your soul to do something meaningful in the world. In this video, I want to help you understand the core of what's going on beneath the surface that is stopping you from having clarity in your career path. And then also, I want to leave you with some actionable tools that you can use to help you gain clarity right now so that you can just take that next step towards the career that you're meant for. And before we get started, my name is Suzanne Heyn, and I am a spiritual life coach for ambitious creatives, and I help you do the inner work of monetizing your truest gifts. Before we get started, I just want to assure you that your heart always knows the next step. You're never really lost. You're just disconnected from what you truly want and what you're truly meant for. And what happens is we just have all of this gunk laying on top of our souls, and we just hear all the noise of that gunk, all the doubts and the fears and comparisons, all these limiting beliefs and negative self-talk and past experiences that we hold on to and that are keeping us from hearing and trusting our inner guidance. And when I work with clients, I help them explore all of these threads one by one, dissolving it so then only clarity is left. Because without doing this inner work, you'll just continue feeling pulled in a million directions. The root problem of not knowing the work that you're meant to do or feeling lost in your career path is a series of inner conflicts. Inner conflicts are basically when one part of you wants one thing and then another part wants another thing. So maybe one part of you wants love and approval, but then the other part of you wants creative self-expression and freedom. Or maybe another part wants safety and security, and then another part wants to take a massive risk. And maybe a third part is like your intuitive guidance versus all the doubt and fear from your past painful experiences or just conditioning that says you can't create what you want. This part of you is beyond your family, your past experiences, your disappointments, but it's just about your hopes and your dreams and everything that you know is possible for you. And I truly believe that if we have a desire in our heart, it's because we are meant to bring it to life, and even more, that people are praying for what we have. And the process of achieving our goals is the process also of becoming who we're meant to be. So it's this process of both serving the world and helping others through our unique gifts, and then also growing, our soul growing in the unique way that we're meant to and that we signed on for before incarnating on this planet. The path of realizing your purpose or finding the work that you're meant to do, or even creating financial abundance and receiving recognition and everything from that, it's deeply spiritual. And these wars within, these inner conflicts, they're deeply spiritual. You have to address these deeper things, otherwise you'll just stay stuck. So these are the three main conflicts that I've experienced in my own life and that also come up frequently for my clients. The first one is a big one, and it's the desire for status versus the desire for fulfillment. A lot of times when you follow the soul-aligned journey, you might pay like an initial cost, right? So if you have a career with a title that you feel really proud of, or you've made more money than you ever had in your life, or you feel like, oh, I'm really good at this. People tell me I'm good at this. I should be happy at this, but I'm not. That's basically a tug of war between what society values and what you personally value, or being willing to take that initial step backwards so that you can create something even better. I mean, so I started my career as a journalist, and I loved telling people that I was a journalist. People were always fascinated by my career. I felt like I had a cool job. People instinctively understood what it was, and maybe journalists didn't really make that much money, but there was still a sense of value to that, like a social value. I was doing a good job, right? And now I'm like a life coach, right? Or I was a blogger for a long time. And a lot of times, honestly, I feel a little cringe, saying, so I'll be like, oh, I work online or whatever, because I don't really feel the need to explain to other people what I'm doing. We don't need to explain ourselves to other people, because the desire for status is what I call an unconscious commitment. And I talk about this in depth in my shadow work video workshop, but an unconscious commitment is basically basically when we take on other people's society or family, teacher, whoever, their beliefs about who we should be or how to make money or like what's valuable work, right? And the desire for status is an unconscious commitment because we're basically agreeing with that person's or society's definition of status versus, well, what's my definition of status? Because my definition of status is waking up and being fulfilled every day. My definition of status is using my unique gifts to help other people and getting a lot of joy and fulfillment out of that. My definition of status is being able to wake up when I want, do the work that I feel called to when I want, work out when I want, have time to cook healthy dinner for my family, keep my house clean. To me, that's status. So yeah, money and all that stuff is really great. And I enjoy that I have unlimited earning potential. And I feel like that's the amazing thing about this new economy that we're all in. So it's about really becoming aware of what you currently think brings status and then your personal definition and how that plays with what would ultimately fulfill you. Because if you're doing something just so that other people can be like, oh yeah, you're so cool, you have this great job, that's not going to give you a sense of fulfillment and you'll continue to feel like there's something missing. So the second inner conflict is the desire for validation versus the desire for authenticity. And this plays into that first conversation, but it's different because purpose is ultimately about serving others with your unique gifts. Like just like a hammer serves a purpose of knocking like a nail into the wall or whatever, a hammer has a purpose. We have a purpose. We have a utility. And a hammer doesn't derive joy out of doing its job, but we, because we're humans, we can derive joy out of doing our jobs. And so when you think about your greater utility in life, a lot of times what influences our ability to exercise our specific job or purpose in the way that we're meant to is this underlying unmet emotional need. So for example, like I said before, I'm a life coach. So for my job, I love working with one-to-one, but I didn't always love working one-to-one because I had unmet emotional needs. For example, my greatest gift is just listening deeply to people, sensing into their energy, and intuitively picking up on the perfect question that they need to consider within themselves that will unlock understanding and progress in their lives. But in my personal life, because that's just the way that I naturally show up, in my personal life, a lot of times I used to find that I was the one just asking questions and holding space for others to talk. And a lot of times I used to never feel like people were really listening to me or asking me questions in the way that I wanted them to. Or I would wait for other people to ask me questions before I shared even little things like things that I'm struggling with or about my day. And I kept all of these things closer to myself. And so a lot of times I felt unheard, but it wasn't so much that other people weren't willing to listen. It's just that I'm like, because I ask questions, I expect other people to ask questions, but a lot of times that's not who they are or that's not their unique gift. And so I needed to learn how to address that within myself so that I could then show up for others in the unique way that I'm meant to. And that actually in that specific circumstance that I do find fulfilling. And so when I was able to get my emotional needs met in my normal life, I was able to then show up in my professional life the way that I was meant to. So like I said, the purpose of living your purpose is to help you become the person that you're meant to be. And so when you show up and move from a place of wholeness, I'm already whole, I don't need anything, I'm just giving from the overflow, that is the space that helps you connect to the work that you're meant to do. So the third inner conflict is the desire between financial security and freedom. Flat out, I don't believe that creative women are meant to work 9-to-5 jobs. First of all, we do the lion's share of work around the house, and people for decades have kind of tried to pretend that that's not the case. We've tried to get men to do everything. But personally, I'm a very feminine woman. I enjoy cooking for my family. My husband's not really a great cook. So if I want to eat healthy, delicious food, I'm the one that does that. And I feel like I'm uniquely made and created to make my home beautiful. My husband has other gifts and things that he brings to the relationship. So instead of being like, oh, I need to work full time and take care of my house and my health and feeling overwhelmed by it all and not really doing a good job at any of it, come to the realization that, oh, I don't actually want to work full time. I want to work part time and have enough time left over to care for my health and my house and my family. And in my personal experience, whenever we work for someone else, I'm someone who has a lot of big ideas and creative energy, and I feel very self-directed. And maybe you would be able to personally feel fulfilled within the framework of a traditional job. But personally, I don't think that I ever really would. And so creative entrepreneurship is something that is deeply valuable to me. But I don't believe in sacrificing financial security. Financial freedom is just as important as creative freedom, because if you're broke, it's stressful and you can't really care for yourself in the way that you really long to. So I believe in making smart decisions, and I believe in really examining your limiting beliefs around money, especially as a creative, because a lot of people undervalue their gifts, they undercharge, they don't know how to package themselves correctly to be able to charge the money that they want. So there's a lot of practical considerations to this conversation, but ultimately it's about believing in yourself, valuing your gifts, and again, making a decision that's right for you. A lot of times I work with people that are debating between two career paths. One's like a huge, big vision, and then the other is more of like a next step vision or a path that's fastest to cash. And it's totally fine if you want the path that's fastest to cash. That's what I did. I started off as a freelance writer, and my success in that then helped me parlay into blogging, courses and coaching and all of that. And so each step in our journey has a purpose. So when you believe in yourself and value your gifts and rewrite the rules of what's possible, then literally anything is possible. So you don't have to choose between financial security and freedom. You can have both. Okay, so before we get into what to do with all of this, right, so that you can move on and find the work that you're meant to do, I would love for you to share in the comments which inner conflict really resonated with you, what struck a chord. And if you're wanting to go deeper into this work, then I have a link in the description. So check that out, and also comment below and let me know which inner conflict most resonated with you. So the first step in this is to just resolve these inner conflicts. So how do you do that? The best way to do it is just to get your journal out and write down everything, all your conflicts. I feel this, but I also feel this. And just get everything onto paper so that you can really see what's going on. You want to become intensely curious about all the stories that you tell yourself, the stories about who you are, what you want, why you can or can't have what you want, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what's possible, what's not possible. Just get clear on all of these stories. This can bring up some emotions, so you might just want to sit with your feelings, and I have a meditation that will help you with that. But once you get everything out onto paper and sit with all of the emotional junk underneath of that, once you process all of that, then your next step will become clear. So number 2 is take the next right step. You don't need to figure out your whole life. You just take the next right step. You just never know where it will go. It's so freeing to just give yourself permission to try something new. Try it out for 90 days and see what happens. See if there's a next step after that. See if there's something that you want to continue. You never know which next thing will turn into the thing. So a lot of times people get down on themselves because they feel like I've quit so many things already. But the truth is that when you find your thing, you will want to continue. You'll just feel a sort of resonance, and you'll be like, oh my God, this is something that I really want to dig my heels into and commit to making a success out of it. And you'll know that when you get there. And if you do find that thing and then you feel tempted to give up, that happens too. So then obviously there's more inner work that can happen around that. But for now, just give yourself freedom to experiment and see what is your next step. So the third thing is commit to a little bet goal for 90 days. I love little bets. A lot of people feel pressure to go all in, and there's a time and a place for going all in. But one of the most powerful things that you can do is just commit to a specific goal for 90 days. So that gives you enough time to figure out if you really like something, and it also forces you to get out of, because it's great to try things and allow yourself to move on when it's not aligned, but you also want to get out of that mindset of like, I'm a quitter, I try all these different things and nothing really works out for me. If you do have that mindset, because it's just a balance. It's a balance between allowing yourself to try new things, pivot when it doesn't work out, and then also developing the inner grit and determination to stick things through when it's not working, but it is aligned to you. So committing to that 90-day time frame is a really great way to find that balance. And then at the end of the 90 days, you can figure out what you want to do. Finding your true path requires a ton of experimentation. I always like to say your path isn't something outside of you, it's something inside of you. And you can never get off of your path because it's always inside. If you want to learn more about how to find and follow your unique path, then check out the next video about how to do that. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.